Welcome to this week's installment of the Apple II Pi project. What we have this time, instead of our Apple IIc as we had on the previous installment, we have switched over to the Apple IIe. Still the same vintage. We have our disk drive, we have our Apple II mouse, but this is our modern HDMI flat screen TV running the default Raspberry Pi desktop, Raspbian's LXDE desktop. So if we come in a little bit, we still can control the Raspberry Pi by way of our Apple IIe. But I want to show off a couple of things that I've done since last time, and that is the ability to interact directly with our Apple II from the Raspberry Pi. So instead of the Apple II talking just to the Raspberry Pi, now the Raspberry Pi can talk back to the Apple II. And what I've done is I've written a little Apple I compatible monitor program which allows me to use a couple of programs I've written previously for the Apple I. And here I am running it's called the A2Mon. I'm not sure that makes it on the video or not. Probably not. And when I start this up, what will be interesting is I no longer can interact with Raspberry Pi from the Apple II because as I switch inputs to the actual Apple II, what we see is the actual Apple II screen. Now this program may look familiar to somebody who has looked at the Apple I auctions that have recently gone off. This is a slideshow I wrote for the Apple's 30th birthday back in 2006 for the Apple I that kind of got picked up and used by these Apple I auctioneers. And so what I've done is I actually ported it back to the Apple II into a format that I can use with my little monitor program that I wrote for Apple II Pi. So this is just the same little slideshow that they have running on all those Apple I auctions to show off the graphics mode, which is really just text. It's ASCII art. That was all real popular back in the 70s, before they really had graphics terminals. And we can just kind of scroll through these pretty quick. You may or may not be able to pick those up on the video. Anyways, that's obviously Woz and Jobs. This little program just kind of runs and cycles through until you hit the escape key, and then it will return control back to Raspberry Pi. And then I have all my mouse control back and keyboard. I've also written some more code to read and write floppies from the floppy drive so that I can make a quick disk image right from the command line here. And it works really just with ProDOS formatted floppies or Apple III sauce formatted floppies. But it's just a real quick way without having to fire up any extra programs to make copies, both reading and writing the floppies to the floppy disk drive. Now the last thing that I really wanted to show was really the hardware involved, because that's where I really spent some time here. So I'm actually go down and shut this down. It's kind of a big desktop for this little slow mouse. We'll just halt everything, have it all shut down, and then I'll open up the back and give you a peek at what's under the hood. Okay, I'll turn it all off. See if I can do this without dropping the phone. Move our monitor off to the side a little bit here. And under the hood we have, I'm going to light over so you can see a little bit, is Raspberry Pi right there. So I've created a little adapter prototype board and connected the power supply basically from the Apple bus to power the Raspberry Pi, and then I've taken my serial port dongle here, brought it out the back, and actually feed it right back into itself. So it's kind of a mess here just to get the serial control from Raspberry Pi to the Apple II, kind of going around and around and around, but that's the way it works. Now, on Raspberry Pi, if you can see at the bottom here, that's the HDMI cable. I had to order a little 270-degree angle bracket for the HDMI port, and it just clears. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it just has enough clearance to get that angle adapter and then have the HDMI cable coming out the back here. This is the Ethernet cable here, and then the Apple II video cable, the HDMI and video both going to the flat screen. So there you have it. Is it a an Apple II upgrade, or just a really bizarre case for a Raspberry Pi? I guess I'll let you be the judge for that.